This is the Wells Report on News Talk 660 KSKY.
He's for U.S. Senate candidate for Texas, Craig James, joining us on the Wells Report on News Talk 660 KSKY. He's a great guy. I've had the pleasure of his company a couple of times, and I have enjoyed every minute of it, Craig. And I'm glad you're here.
Thank you very much. Likewise.
Let's take questions, and questions only, please. 866-660-KSKY, 866-660-5759. Bill in Dallas, what is your question for Craig James?
The white kid or a black kid goes to school here in Texas, and they have to show a birth certificate to get in there. Hispanic kids are waived from that. And the student ratio keeps climbing and climbing and climbing. The dollar amounts for bilingual education keeps climbing and climbing and climbing. Is that something that you would consider to take a look at? And I don't see why Hispanic kids don't have to have a birth certificate.
You know what, Bill? I think that's a problem because right now we're trying to address the numbers of illegal immigrants who are here in this country. And I've tried to put a face to these folks. They're men and women, they're dads, they're kids who are here. Now, they're here illegally, and I'm not for amnesty, but you have to address that they're human beings first and foremost. Now we have to find a way that we can get them to be here legally, which means you got to go back and you got to come over here. So all of these kids who are not showing up with identification, you know, they're going against the system right now. It's furthering the problem.
Craig, why don't we just tell them that until they have a birth certificate and so on and so forth, they can't show up?
Well, and I think we have to have, in order to secure the border, you know, yes, we have to have some force on the ground there, but intellectually secure it, which means that you help moms and dads really understand how simple it is. Go over there and then come back, and we're going to let you come back. We want you to be here. That's part of our country, and our ancestors came here looking for themselves in a better way. But we got to find a way to get these folks to sign up and be here legally, not illegally.
All right, let me get to Randy in Plano. Randy, welcome to the Wells Report on News Talk 660 KSKY.
Staying on that subject, do you believe that everyone that's here in America, except for those that are felons, should maintain the right to vote, even if they don't hold competency to be able to vote, or if they're currently receiving government handouts to the point where it's the majority of the income to their family to vote in the benefit of getting people that are going to supply them more and more to stay on the dole?
Randy, I think we got to live up to what it says, the Constitution. You can vote if you're a citizen here in the United States of America. You've got a right to vote, and that's one of the most powerful things that we must stress upon people, the importance of signing up, being registered to vote. I'm telling you, this May 29th, if that's when it happens on the primary we're talking about now, JD, it may not happen until June.
I know.
And how few a number of people are going to show up and vote, you know, and so I think it's one of the biggest things that we have to teach people in this country, the importance of signing up, being registered and vote.
Do you support the Real ID Act or the True the Vote ID Act, to vote with an ID?
Absolutely. Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, you show up, you got an ID to get on an airplane. Why can't you show up with an ID? And we're not saying we're going to throw someone out. It's easy to go get an identification to prove who you are and then vote.
Well, it should be the way. It should be the law of the land. I mean, for goodness sakes. As a matter of fact, it is. There was a Texas rancher who refused to show his ID when he was asked by a police officer. That went all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said when the police officer asks you for your ID, you are compelled to show him who you are. And that works for everybody except the people that are here illegally, in which case there's some political umbrella, that protects them from this, and that's got to stop.
Well, let's stop being politically correct. Let's talk about saving the country and keeping America exceptional.
Greg in Benbrook, by the way, 866-660-KSKY, 866-660-5759. If you have a question for Craig James, question only, please. Greg in Benbrook.
Mr. James, I'd like to know a no-nonsense, straightforward response to the question, what does the Second Amendment mean to you? And I'd also like to know your opinion on the recent Supreme Court case regarding probable cause and the Fourth Amendment. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I can tell you this, Greg. If you walk in my house unwanted, uninvited late at night, there will be a fireworks show. I have a pistol. It's called the Judge.
That's a great little pistol.
It's got a .410, and then it's backed up with a bullet. and I've got a shotgun, and in the corner I've got an AR-15. So I believe in the Second Amendment all the way, mainly because it gives me the chance to protect my freedoms, and it also gives me a chance to protect that First Amendment. And you know, here, the question, Greg, really for me is this: regardless of which amendment you're talking about, we right now have to stand up and get the government and our elected officials back to focusing on honoring the Constitution. 8,000 words or less. It's the greatest instrument this country has ever had as a document, and we're getting away from it so that we're not supporting each of these amendments.
Only 4 pages. I was there at the National Archives.
That's cool.
It's only 4 pages. It's a brilliant. It's 4 pages.
Okay, so
it is a brilliant document.
Okay, and so now we have a 2,700-page Obamacare document that comes out.
Yeah,
you know why? I mean, it's absurd.
Well, because the reason is because the government's doing too dang much. You know, if it's in the Constitution, I say, by all means, forge ahead. If it's not in the Constitution, it's the state's job. That's the way it ought to be. Let me get to Larry in Grand Prairie. Welcome to the Wells Report. You're on with Mr. Craig James. What's your question?
Yes, Mr. James. What are some personal safeguards that you'll engage in Washington, D.C. in order not to drink their political correct Kool-Aid?
That is a great question.
Great question, man. Glad you asked that. Here's what I'm counting on. The fact that I have been blessed to have been on some big stages in my life. I've been around a lot of the fringe dangers, the enticements that can be there for someone. So I have to be careful about this because I don't want to disrespect Congress. But when I walk into that chamber for the first time and I see Senator A, B, and C, I'm not going to melt. Yes, I respect them, but I've been around some big things that are very impressive. And right now we're at a point in JD where they're not impressive for the folks who are in there. So my faith that I ask every morning for protection from me. Lord, protect me from me, which is the ego and the things. I haven't been sitting around listening to people, throw lavish comments on me all the time. I come from Real Street again. My wife and my kids,
they keep you on the ground, don't they?
Amen, man. It's Sunday night and Wednesday night. Get the trash out.
866-660-KSKY, 866-660-5759. Ms. Marcy in Dallas, you're on with Craig James. What's your question?
My question is, what do you think about the insider trading for Congress? And if you're against that, what would you do to stop it?
That is a good question.
Well, and there's to be no way that anyone benefits from having inside knowledge on a trade. We don't on Real Street. We can't out here take advantage of things.
We'll go to jail.
Absolutely, we go to jail. And it's so from my standpoint, we have a Congress that is benefiting from some things they shouldn't do, and we need to be very firm against that and stand strong. Let's be like America. A citizen. Someone said to me, JD, the other day, you sound like Mr. Smith may be going to Washington. And I said that would be an honor because we need citizens, men and women, and there are thousands capable of doing this. I've just chosen. I've had the Lord press it upon me to do it. Many men and women could go do exactly what we need, honor the Constitution.
Have you got a minute? Can you stick around a little longer?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to keep Craig James a little bit longer here. Questions available to ask, by all means, of Craig James. He wants to be the United States Senator from the state of Texas. I suggest you ask him some serious questions. He will answer serious questions, and I suggest you bring them to the fore right this minute. Craig James, our guest, is a part of the Who's Next project. The U.S. Senate going to keep him a couple of extra segments if we can. And if you have questions on News Talk 660 KSKY, back in a moment.